Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about reparenting. So I'm going to give it in a different context this time. So if you're not already familiar with what reparenting is, you can essentially think of reparenting as you becoming your own parent. Okay, so wherever you have wounds, wherever you have old triggers, unmet needs, part of how we heal from these things is we stop re-traumatizing ourselves, as I like to call it. And so you can think of a re-traumatization as any point where, let's say, I had an unmet need in childhood. So maybe that need was for boundaries. And because that need didn't get met, my subconscious mind didn't get a chance to adapt, and it maintains a subconscious comfort zone of having boundaries disrespected. So I, in relationship to myself, would continuously violate my own boundaries because I haven't had the positive reinforcement and conditioning for my boundaries to be allowed to be upheld, essentially. So if I have this subconscious belief that says, no, 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 you're not able to have boundaries, or boundaries don't work for you, then I'm going to keep re-traumatizing myself by continuously not allowing myself to keep getting that need met. And trauma can be either something that we don't get met that we should have had met, that was like a basic human need, and the lack of having that need met can be considered a trauma, or a trauma can be like a direct thing that shouldn't have happened to us that's really painful and excruciating. So we can accidentally re-traumatize ourselves by continuously being our own negative version of our parent in the relationship to ourselves by, again, not meeting those deeply painful unmet needs in childhood, or by re-traumatizing ourselves from the painful things that did happen to us. So another example of this could be if I had a really critical parent or a really emotionally unavailable parent, right? If that's the case, maybe I'm really critical to myself, or maybe I'm really repressive of my own emotions, and I don't make that information available to me and let my emotions be my guidance system and listen to them and process them. And so what happens essentially is the patterns that we got from our parents in childhood, we recreate in the relationship to ourselves. And so reparenting is the act of being able to find exactly what those things are and then start meeting them in relationship to ourselves. So I have an amazing course inside the school for this. And we currently have a promotion going on for Valentine's Day, and um, it ends literally in a day and a half. It ends on the 19th. And so it's PDSV Day in all capital letters, and you have access to any membership bundles. So it's not for the just 1 month membership, but it's for like 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year-long membership. You get 25% off. So you can check that out. And it's for single course purchases as well. So if you want to buy just a single individual course on reparenting, which we have like literally an amazing course inside the school. So what I'm going to give to you here, though, is something you can sort of do on your own in the meantime, which is what I've done in the course, essentially. What I'm going to give you this like high level version of right here is I've linked the different potential patterns that we will carry out in relationship to ourselves based on the different parenting styles that existed in childhood. So there are 4 major types of parenting styles, and if you're not familiar with them already, the 4 major parenting styles are the authoritative parent, which is usually actually quite healthy. It's sort of like somewhat teaching responsibility and accountability, and almost not strict, but getting you to show up in the relationship to yourself, but also loving and understanding, and wanting you to see that there's consequences for actions, but not punishments. And so the authoritative parent tends to be quite healthy. And then we have 3 really common unhealthy parenting styles. And nowadays, like in this time of the generation of kids being born now, we have more beautiful things like conscious parenting. But most of you guys watching this video who are showing up here to do self-work probably didn't have a conscious set of parents, right? It's very, very rare. So let's look at, and I'll do a separate video on conscious parenting, but let's look at the 3 unhealthy parenting styles. So we have the authoritarian, which is like the very strict, very intensive parent who teaches a lot about punishment, rules by fear, and, spends a lot of time sometimes taking out their anger on their children in different forms. We have the uninvolved parent who's emotionally unavailable and maybe missing from the child's life, maybe disconnected from the child, maybe just emotionally unavailable because they're working a lot, they're bogged down, maybe they're going through depression, mental health issues, so they're just really unavailable from that perspective. And then we have the permissive parent. And the permissive parent is the one who tends to, you can think of the permissive parent as being the parent who's like, oh, you're crying, here, just take the candy and stop crying. And we think of permissive parent as being the kind parent. And yeah, there are definitely benefits to that kindness, but there are also a lot of drawbacks, such as, sometimes the permissive parent teaches the kids to not really self-soothe. They always soothe the child from whatever means or strategies they have. Sometimes they don't teach their children responsibility for their actions and for their lives. They're always bailing their kids out. They're always sort of not showing up in a way that teaches accountability and life skills to a certain degree. And the permissive parent can also teach a lot of entitlement indirectly to their kids. So I go through those, and I'm going to give you an exercise in this video specifically. And then we also talk about the narcissistic parent in that course, and like the different patterns that you are likely, there's like 20 or 30 patterns of behavior that you are likely to take from each of these parenting styles. And you may not have all of them, but you'll have, you're likely to have a good chunk of them. And you may not realize you'll have sort of these blind spots as to where you are re-traumatizing yourself, because you're not recognizing that you are still playing that parent role in relationship to yourselves. And what healing requires from a reparenting perspective is for us to actually break the pattern, so we don't just continue it and then pass it on in our romantic relationships, or pass those patterns on in the relationship to our own kids. And so it's really important to become aware of that. Now, what I will do for this exercise for you here is, while I can't go through all the patterns of behavior, what I highly recommend that you do is you write down from this video what you think both of your parents were. Usually you have two different parenting styles. Sometimes you'll have, two authoritarian parents, but usually it's like an authoritarian parent and a permissive parent, or an uninvolved parent and a permissive parent. So it's usually a combination of different parenting styles. So write down what you think your parents were, or your caregivers were, and then write down the behaviors that they showed you in childhood that you think that you perpetuate or continue to play out subconsciously in the relationship to yourself. And then in a column next to it, write down your strategies to break these patterns, what you can do in relationship to yourself to stop continuing that cycle of unconsciousness and pain. So it doesn't keep continuing through, the next generation of your children, or it doesn't keep getting passed down in that way. Now in the course, I have like all these different, I have the workbook with all the patterns of behavior lined up, and then all these different strategies for how to break these patterns of behavior. But this is also something that you can sit with and ponder on, and start doing this work in relationship to yourself. So it's a really, really powerful thing to do. And it really has a lot to do with subconscious reprogramming at the behavioral level. I talk a lot about subconscious reprogramming at the thought level, at the belief level. This has a lot to do with the behavioral level specifically. So there's tons of like golden nuggets and riches of growth and awareness to find in this work and in this exercise. So I hope this is helpful, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.